All right. Just getting this all set up. And we'll be all ready to go. Fix that. Welcome everyone. This is Cloud Storage, right from me, brought to you by the Orland Park Public Library. My name is Joe, I'm an IT2, and I'm just gonna have this waiting for a little bit so everybody can kind of sprinkle in, because I know that a lot of people had issues trying to connect and try to log in and whatnot, so I'm just gonna give a little bit of time, about a minute, just so anybody else has any issues or anything just can float in. So I'm not kind of jumping the gun and then everybody else is having problems. Well, this is a class all about cloud storage. So I'll get into the details in a little more in depth, but kind of a brief overview. Cloud storage is a remote location where you can access your files, whether it be videos, photos, or anything like that, whether it be streaming or anything, that's all handled elsewhere instead of having stuff saved locally on your own local hard drive or solid state. So I'll get into the first slide. What is cloud storage? The cloud refers to groups of remote computers connected to the internet. You're usually provided a certain amount of free space to store and sync your files. If you go over that amount, you can buy more. The cloud gives you access to a larger amount of storage than your devices may hold. What all of this kind of means is that, like I said before, where the cloud itself is a remote server sitting elsewhere in the country, and what is it's a bunch of computers kind of lined up in one specific room that house all the data that you want to save from any kind of cloud storage device, whether it be Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, Mega, or something like that. So then you don't have to worry about if you have a boatload of photos or videos or music, instead of saving them locally on your hard drive or solid state on your laptop, phone, tablet, computer, and then worrying about storage shortage, then this way you can just make an account. You have a fair amount of storage to start off with when you make a free account with any of those services. And then what you can do is, if you reach that amount, they'll either recommend, or you can go from the start and then buy more storage depending on kind of different increments as you kind of go up and about. So what kind of services out there, which are Google Drive, which is owned and moderated by Google, Amazon Drive, which is Amazon, OneDrive from Microsoft, Dropbox, which also partners with Microsoft, iCloud, which is monitored by Apple, and many others. So beside that, there's also some other ones I'll get into later as we kind of finish up. First, we'll talk about Dropbox, which was launched in 2008, 2 gigabytes for free for initial sign up, and you can add more people to expand up to 16 gigs. And you can kind of see two little price points on the next two bullet points, which is 2 terabytes for $9.99 per month and 3 terabytes for $16.58 per month. And it'll show this right here, but then as I go on later on, I'll kind of show you what kind of different other price points that are more either bigger or smaller. Now we're talking about Amazon Cloud, which was launched in 2011. Amazon Prime membership includes, which what that is a membership that you sign up for on Amazon that is paid for, that you can actually get a multitude of different perks along with this, whether it be Amazon Prime Video, faster shipping, different shipping options. And then this way it's kind of all kind of in one spot. And it allows you to have unlimited photo storage and 5 gigs for videos and files. And there is a 100 gigabyte option for photos, and photos don't count if you have Prime, which is for $19.99 per year. And there is a 1 terabyte option, which is for $60 per year. So they kind of give you a little bit of a general idea of what the pricing point kind of is. I'll go into it later as far as what each one kind of offers more in depth, and then I'll show kind of the little different increments you can kind of see. Next is Google Drive, which was launched in 2012. And then upon making a Google account, which is absolutely free, you can make a Google account and you can actually have Google Drive for absolutely free for 15 gigs to start off with. And then as you go over that amount, you can get different amounts for different prices per year. And that also includes storage for Gmail and photos and stuff like that, that is also included. So if you want to, say, buy anything, whether it be from Google TV or Google Play Movies or music or photos, something like that, it'll actually you can actually choose it to download into your Google Drive, and then you can have that remotely instead of having it saved on your local device. And you have 200 gigs for $30 per year, and 2 terabytes for $100 per year. Sorry about that. I kind of got that a little bit all over the place. But yeah, I'd say so far that Google Drive is pretty much besides iCloud, is one of the most widely used drive services, whether it be for downloading or saving. So next is OneDrive, which is monitored by Microsoft, and it started in 2007, and it gives you free 5 gigs with sign up, just like with Google Drive, where they give you a certain amount to start off with, and then you slowly build if you go over that amount or if you so choose. Then you have 100 gigabytes for $199 per month. 1 terabyte is included with Office 365 personal subscription for $70 per year. And what Office 365 is that it's its own online suite of PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, and other stuff like that. So you kind of get that perk along with having OneDrive, which you can save anything you want, whether it be Word documents, PowerPoint, Excel, spreadsheets, and you can have that saved on OneDrive as an option along with that subscription, instead of having everything kind of saved locally. So if you want to have everything digital and you don't have to go out and buy a code or a physical pass or disk or anything, you can just have that, and then you can kind of pay as a subscription. You can end at any time if you want to. And you also have 6 terabytes included with the home subscription for $100 per year for 6 users. So what that means is that you'll get a certain amount of licenses, and then up to that amount, you can actually use that many licenses for. So keep that in mind. Next would be iCloud, which is monitored by Apple, which launched in 2011. And along with that account, you get 5 gigabytes for free. And you can upgrade to 50 gigs for $1 per month, and 200 for $3 per month, and 2 terabytes for $10 per month. And this is, along with Google Drive, a more logical kind of solution instead of having a third-party cloud-based service that you're paying for, anything that, say, if you have iOS or Android, it's more integrated. So you don't have to worry about downloading a third-party software or have an extra app. You can kind of have everything kind of one suite of like a bubble, so you can kind of keep everything all together depending on what you kind of want. So those are probably the most used of the cloud-based services. And as you can see here, which is cloudwars.net, which is a comparison site, as you can see in the picture right here, that kind of gives you the name of the cloud service, the pros and cons of each, whether if it has it or not, pricing, and you can kind of see reviews, how much it is per month, what kind of storage you're looking at for the best kind of price. And you can also choose, if you check this box over here, as I'll show later, that you can compare two specific ones. If you say, oh, well, I want iCloud and I'm trying to choose between iCloud and Google Drive, you can choose those two check boxes and then have them kind of side by side, and you kind of see which one has one perk over the other. So you can kind of choose which one's the best for you based on what kind of things you're trying to save, what you want, and what kind of devices offer that kind of service, which I think is a very, very kind of helpful thing. And you can also find different kind of websites beside this too that work similarly and then kind of add different types of features too, as I'll get into later about what it kind of shows in comparison's sake. So keep that in mind. And then now with the pandemic currently happening, that a lot of people are deciding to work from home, and the big bonus with stuff like Office 365 and then G Suite, that you can kind of have, like I talked about before, kind of a ecosystem of either all Microsoft apps or all Google apps that, say, if you want to use Google Photos, or you can use Gmail, or if you want to save something, whether it be if you buy something from the Google Play Store, everything kind of coexists with each other. So then you kind of have everything in one place rather than be stretched around other platforms. The same thing with Office 365, where, like I said before, you can have options of, and they're both kind of different and the same way, where with Office 365, you can actually have a subscription service where you have Outlook, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and then you kind of monitor kind of what you have, and then you can pick or choose which one you want and then what kind of different plans that they offer. And both platforms offer similar features, which I went into before, which was email, file storage, collaboration with other communication tools, word processing, spreadsheets, and presentation tools, etc. So with that, like I said before, they're similar but different as far as what they offer, where Office has Word, G Suite has Google Docs, and so on and so forth. So each one kind of has the same amount of options, whether it be they have their own word processor, spreadsheet, slideshow, email, photos, and stuff like that, along with their own cloud-based service. So then they each have their own things that set each other apart, but then you can kind of pick and choose what best fits your needs. And that's pretty much it for the slideshow. I'll use this portion to have anybody ask any questions as I go into what the other ones have and what the other ones I listed are. So then you kind of get a more visual idea of what I was discussing before, and then what the plans are and what the interface looks like for each of those sites. So let me get into that. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask at any time. Now we're kind of in the more demonstrative portion of it. But here is the first one, which I discussed, which was Dropbox. Let me get into this. So this is Dropbox Business, which you can kind of see right here, where you have kind of a preview of what it looks like. You have the option to start a free trial, cancel any time, or you have the option of Dropbox Basic, which is for a free account. And as you can see here, that there is Dropbox Basic, which is for free, and you get 2 gigs to start off with. And you have access to files anywhere, whether it be on Windows or Mac. You have a web version, or there is also an iOS and Android version. You can back up files, like I said before. You can sync stuff, whether it be if you make edits live, whether it be a Word doc or a Google Doc or anything on any of those platforms. Along with this, you can kind of save live in case you don't want to remember how to actually save manually. It'll automatically save every so often. And then you can actually share. You can share links, file previews, and you kind of see some FAQs on the bottom. But with the business portion, there are different plans, whether it be monthly or yearly. For, like you could say monthly, it's $19.99 per month. Standards is $15, advanced $25. And it'll give you kind of how many users that can use this, how much storage there is, and then each kind of feature that each plan offers, as well as the length of how long you can try it for free if you want to cancel before the subscription starts. And then right here, you can kind of see different highlights as far as what, like I said before, it kind of offers. And what happens is if you stop paying, it should not actually cancel out anything you own. But what it does is that what I believe it does do is it actually takes the amount back down, but you can't actually save any more to it based on what was already there to begin with. So that's what happens when you stop paying for a subscription. And then next, like I said before, is Amazon Prime with the Amazon Cloud. And you still do have access to everything that you saved, like I said before, where you do have, what happens is that you actually can still save, like say you get Google Drive and you pay for 100 gigs, and then as you save, you can still keep it, but then if you stop paying for your subscription, it'll still be there, but then you can't actually save any more on top of it besides what was already there to begin with. if that kind of gets there. And then now we're talking about Amazon Prime. And like I said before, Amazon Prime offers free delivery, exclusive deals, and then different types of perks along with what you're looking for. And what happens is that you can still see right here where you can get different perks. And then with, I'll show you the Amazon Cloud, which is their own drive service. They'll ask you to log in, and then once there, I'll go to the pricing for it. You kind of see what I'm kind of looking at right here. And then you kind of see there, but first you have to have an Amazon account, and then it'll ask, and like I said before, the pricing doesn't change from the slide as far as what it offers. I'll cover more of the more well-known offerings. So next would be Google Drive. And if you go here, you kind of see the different stuff it offers, whether it be web-based or OS-based, if you want to have it locally. And you kind of see the different stuff that it offers here as far as integration tools, whether, like I said before, you have a Google Doc that you want to save on the fly, or a spreadsheet or a slideshow, and you kind of sync it and then save it live as you kind of edit it, just to make sure that you don't lose any of your data. And then, as you can see right here, if I go to the main picture here, I'll sign in so you can kind of see what this looks like. Since I already have a Google account, this will be easier to show more visually, but as you can see, you'll see my Drive, which is, you can see, it has everything that I saved. I have a video saved, and then it gives you like a Word document. I have a document saved. So if I go right here and I want to make a Google Docs per se, so you do is like do a new, you can do Google Docs if you make a blank document. And then as you can see right here, if I start adding in more text, if I say, I want to make a template for like an email or something, if I want to copy it later or something like that, if a school project, for that, like after I type this in, then live, it'll actually keep it as a untitled document. So then if I go here, you can see it actually saving live. So then as I go back to this, it'll pick up wherever I left off, which is a really nice feature, is what it kind of has. And then you can say shared with me, which is anybody that has a, for instance, like something that's shared with them, like a Google Drive link or anything like that, it'll appear here, and then you can kind of access it remotely. If, say, you have a family member that shares a photo or a video with you, you can go to share it with me if they give you the link, and then you can access it here. Right here you have the recent, which is what the recent stuff that you have. that you accessed, anything you have starred, anything you have in the trash. You can see right here that I've used 2.6 out of 15 gigs. And then if you go to buy storage, it'll give you a overview of what it offers. Like I mentioned before, you get 15 gigs free when you make a Google account. And then you can upgrade to 100 gigs for $199 per month. And it also gives you an option if you want to pay it per year or per month, and it gives you what it includes. And you can see that this next one is 200 gigs, which is $299, or the $30 per year. And it gives you options as far as if you have Google financing, or if you have Google Store credit, you can use it towards this and or get stuff back as you buy. And then you kind of have that option. Also, there's 2 terabytes, which is 10 per month and 100 per year. And it still lists the same store credit for Google Store purchases. And it also offers Google One, which is the more advanced version of Google Drive, which adds more benefits, which you can change your storage plan anytime. You can get extra help with products and services, share your plan up to 5 people or more. And you can use Google Play credits or special pricing or more, depending on what you kind of have. And then that's what that is for here. So then as you see in Google One, you have the benefits kind of page, then you have the support page, then plans, and then so on and so forth. So that's always another option. And then next you have OneDrive. As you go to the front page right here, it gives you the option to sign in or sign up for free. And then if you go here for plans and pricing, on the front page, you can see anywhere access, back and protect, share and collaborate. So like I said before, if you have different types of files, you can kind of upload them and save them kind of anywhere in real time with any Office apps. And then you can see that they're advertising 365. I talked about before is a subscription service. And then right here, they give you more in-depth plans as far as this other plan right here where you can see an option for home and for business, which is, you see the different options right here where if you have 365, the family bundle, you have $100 per year or $10 per month, and then it gives you what kind of services that's included, and then what other Office apps are included. And then it kind of gives you a comparison chart of its own, depending on what plan you want to go with. If you want to use the for home option, and you kind of see and pick and choose what's more important to you, and then you can kind of see which one you want to go with, depending on what it offers. And then the same thing on the end right here, like I mentioned before, where you get 5 gigs for free, and then includes OneDrive. And what you do is after you make a Microsoft account and then you start using it, you get the 5 gigs for free, and you can also upgrade if you so choose over time. And then you can kind of see right here for business, depending on what you have right here, you can have $5 per user per month. It depends where now instead of the home version, you have the business version where you can use by user or for the entire, say, department or entire organization, depending on what you need. And then this offers more services that the home version doesn't offer, which is more of the commercial stuff that people would use at home for companies like Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, Yammer, and stuff like that. So then you get extra features depending on if you either use the home version or the business version. So that's always a big help. And then on the bottom, it still has the exact same, excuse me, pros and cons between each of the plans, so you can pick and choose what you need and what you are looking for. And then next was iCloud. And then as you can see right here, you need to have an iCloud account, but everything in the PowerPoint should be exactly the same. And then it's kind of like with what I talked about before with the Microsoft account or Google account, where you have your set amount pricing, and then say you start off with a free amount, you upgrade over time, and then you can say if you have email or if you download something from iTunes, you can back it up remotely instead of having it saved locally on your computer or smartphone. So that's another option I mentioned before. And then as you can see right here, I'll add another subscription service for cloud service, which is Mega. And as you can see right here, it's one I personally use. As far as if you're on a budget, that, as far as, budget, $2 per month, we recommend over 30. It ultimately depends. As far as my own use, it depends on what you use. Say if you have photos don't take up as much space depending on the resolution, and the amount of content that's in the photo will depend on how big the file size is for it. And what I've found is that for photos, they don't take up as much space as, say, if you want to save a movie or a TV show, which, since it's a lot of content in one file, that it's a bigger file size. You normally see a photo that's specifically, for instance, if you save a movie or a TV show and then you want to back it up, it would be like anywhere from 300 megabytes to, give or take, like 2 or 3 gigs. So if you plan on hoarding a bunch of photos, I don't foresee it going as high as 30 gigs on the norm, but I wouldn't rule out that option, but that's kind of what you have there. But as far as the 30 gigs, I think you should be fine for something even way fewer, because like I said, photos don't take up as much space. And now we'll be talking about Mega, which is, like I said before, one that I use. And like I said right here, you can actually get 50 gigabytes free of storage, which I think is absolutely phenomenal compared to all of the other offerings that I shown on the PowerPoint. That I save this more towards the end because it's something that I have more familiarity with as far as using it on a daily basis, having a bunch of files saved, and what it kind of offers. And like I said right here, it gives you 5 gigabytes for free compared to something like Google Drive or iCloud, they give you like 5 to 15. This gives you a wider window of room. So then in case, like the question before, if you have a bunch of photos, you can actually download the Mega app or the desktop app, and you can have 50 gigabytes for free instead of having to pay the extra amount for all the extra gigs that you may or may not need. And then right here it gives you the different options for reliable storage and fast transfers. And then you have end-to-end encryption. And what encryption is that any file that you have saved can't be shared to anyone but whomever uploaded it to that cloud-based service or who's ever trying to access it, if it's you or someone else that you know. So then it's not actually broadcasted and everybody can see it and everybody can access it. And then you have different kind of options right here as far as what kind of security options it has. It'll tell you how many file transfer options you have, how much space you're taking up, and then also on the bottom right here, which I think is really neat, that it gives you comparisons to the other options that I listed before, where you get to save about up to 80% more, and you get more options and more space to begin with rather than what you have. As far as putting photos on a cloud-based service rather than a portable hard drive, it ultimately depends on the route you want to take. I both use cloud and a portable hard drive depending on what I'm saving, but the thing that I think is a bit more safe, depending on if you're using a portable HDD or a solid state, that over time, either multiple plug in and plug outs, or as far as constant file transfer over time, no matter what you use, it slowly deteriorates over time, rather than if you have a cloud-based service, it's on a server somewhere else in the country, and then there won't be any degradation over time or any kind of hiccups as far as if you want to save multiple files and have no weird latency or downtime over a period of time. So to answer your question, cloud-based services, as far as, and the cool thing is too, with a cloud-based service, the benefit is that if you have a video or a photo or an email that you want to save remotely, you can access it wherever, no matter if you have a laptop or a smartphone or anything. You don't have to worry about lugging around a portable hard drive anywhere with you and worrying about if you lose it or the data is lost over time or anything like that. With a cloud-based service, you can actually, say, bring a smartphone with, say, let me create a case scenario here. If you're creating a resume at home and then you're going to work the next day and then you want to pick it up right where you left off, you can save it to, say, Google Drive or Mega or Dropbox or any of those, and then go to your smartphone if you have the app or the service, and you can pick up right where you left off, opposed to having to start and stop or completely lose that data. Like I said, as far as pricing, I've seen portable hard drives about 1 terabyte range anywhere to, I'd say 40, 50 to, I'd say 80, 90. And for those other cloud-based services, they're a lot cheaper, and I find them to be more reliable over time, and there's less hiccups and latency. And like I said before, it's a big bonus to actually, say, start document or whatever at home, or if you take a photo, you can save it anywhere you want and show it wherever you want on any kind of device. Say if you want to show a photo and you don't have a phone with you, you can actually sign into your Google account on any other device and then still access that stuff, whether it be a photo or a video, instead of having to, like I said, lug around a clunky hard drive or worry about if it's going to load or not, or if it's still saved or not. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a more quality of life option for you, instead of having to worry about bringing it along or losing anything. You just have it anywhere with you, anywhere. Let me see, actually. As far as my cloud, I haven't personally dealt with it, but as far as being a cloud-based service, I'd rather I'd say for a cloud-based service, I haven't personally had any experience with it, but it doesn't sound, as I look into this right now, as far as that, doesn't sound like a bad idea, but I'd say the other options that I listed, especially with Mega, that you get the 50 gigabytes free just in case, and then that's more than any other one that gives you something for free as you sign up. And you can upgrade your account right here, and opposed to spending $99 on that other service, you actually can pay either monthly. You only have to pay $36.22 per month, opposed to the $99, depending on whether it be monthly or yearly. And if you go to yearly, you could actually, for instance, you said that you were going to save 2 terabytes. For 2 terabytes for this, it's $120 yearly, but you actually have the added transfer fee. You have the added transfer option, and like I said, you can actually kind of pay as you go and cancel anytime. So it's kind of up to your discretion, per se. So, and then right here, you kind of see that they have their own desktop app, mobile apps, and then extensions too. And then the feature, the Mega Cloud, like I talked about before, you kind of scroll down, gives you different options, whether it be the desktop app. Say if you're going to see, the difference is too, with a lot of these cloud-based services, if you want to transfer files, you have a transfer quota. So depending on what you're using, as far as saving to cloud and then trying to delete files from it, there are options depending on what kind of service that you're using. So if you tell me which one you're specifically using, then I kind of help out better, because each one kind of works differently. But as far as deleting, usually there'll be a section in your settings, depending on what you're using. Say, for instance, iCloud. There's a section in your settings that is for iCloud for the account. And then you can kind of clean up your storage in that, and then you can kind of delete all the extra stuff out of there. So then you can add more space to what you currently have. So there's kind of that deal. Yeah, like I said before, since you mentioned that you had iCloud for iPhone, that I'll see if I can pick up a photo of it so I can kind of give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. Yeah, and there's a step-by-step right here if you kind of search in Google, where it's like you go to your settings, your account, then you go to manage storage, your backups, and then you can choose what backup you want to delete or save, and then you can go more in depth. And like I can show you right here, that you'll see a visual representation of what you want to choose to back up to for future references. Say if you only want to save for emails or contacts, you can press the radio buttons right here, and then you can choose whether or not if you want to save just the mail, contacts, calendars, reminders, anything like that. So you're not taking up any extra space. You're not downloading and uploading a bunch of stuff you don't actually need. So then you can save more space. So if you go to manage storage, then you can actually delete old backups too, which is pretty much the easiest way to do it too. So if that answers your question, but that's pretty much the bulk of it. And that's pretty much it for the class. If anybody else has any more questions, feel free for the next couple of minutes or so. But yeah, cloud-based services are pretty much the main thing going on right now as far as the safest and the most efficient way of saving and kind of transferring stuff over time to many devices where you can access anywhere at any time. You're very welcome. But as far as everything, it's more of like a forward thinking process. It's more of a, say, it's a more stable as well as more permanent way of saving files opposed to physical hard drives or anything like that, because like I said before, you have the constant worry of the USB port itself either on the device or anything like that slowly degrading over time, depending on how many plugins that you have over time, because the more you do, the port becomes looser over time, and then it has a harder time trying to recognize a drive as you keep plugging in and unplugging it. So that's a big reason why a lot more people are moving over to cloud-based services rather than local stuff like hard drives. As far as saving information, depending on what it is, you should be able to save stuff locally to a hard drive, depending on what service you're using. So like I said, there's many other websites and more comparison sites that I didn't mention that they'll give you different options as well as kind of a general idea of what you're getting into as far as what you have, what you can do with it, and how you can save stuff. So there are many other videos on YouTube and then other articles on Google and stuff like that that will go very, very in depth, even more so than I did right now, to give you a very clear-cut idea of what you're kind of looking for. And like I said, there's some that I had personal experience with and then some that I haven't. So it all depends on what you're using and what it offers as far as if you can save stuff locally or not. So I would do a lot more research with that if it kind of answers your question. But as you can see here, that we do have upcoming computer classes for the rest of the month and so on, which is on, the next one is on Saturday, and it's at 11 a.m., which is Computer 201, which is a more added portion of the previous class, which is 101, that gets more into the use of a computer as it was before, as the last class. And there's a class that following Monday, which is Intro to Selling on eBay at 7 o'clock, which goes into the buying, selling, and more of the intricacies of the way eBay works. So that's a nice added class for you. So yeah, if anybody has any more questions, let me know. But beside that, that's pretty much the class in kind of a nutshell. So like I said before, cloud-based services are more of the current and the future of ease of how you want to save your files and access them anywhere at any time. So it's going to be, it is and will be the most technologically advanced and easily readable service for you if you want to carry photos, videos, movies anywhere at any time and on any person's device for that matter. So that's the biggest thing that I want everybody to kind of remember over time, is that that's something too that will always be there. Like I said, with physical hard drives, that, like I said, they do degrade over time, the portable ones even too, that over time of constantly unplugging, plugging in, the port will become worn and then it won't be able to recognize, and then you're kind of screwed as far as being able to access that hard drive again, or if you're using another computer and so on and so forth. So yeah, so that was, is cloud computing right for me? I am Joe, and I'm an IT2 at the Orland Public Library. Here's my email if anybody has any extra questions about something I didn't go in depth on, or something I didn't answer. If you have a question that you decide on later on that you wanted to ask, you kind of contact me there. So that was, it's class right for me, and thank you for watching.